Welcome to episode 3, series 4 of the Fishing Daily podcast. Today I'm joined by CG Gaffney, former owner of the Mary Kate WD-30. Now, for a decade and a half, CG has been seeking justice for the losses incurred after buying the Mary Kate from Germany, and he's been championing better safety regulations for boats under 24 metres, like the Mary Kate. A few weeks ago, CJ and others gave evidence at the Committee for Petitions, and we will talk to him today about the outcome of that committee meeting. Welcome back to the Fishing Daily podcast, CJ, and thank you for joining us again. CJ, you recently at the Committee for Petitions and the Ombudsman, and you got to speak there, and it was very heartfelt, and you had a lot of very good people around you who brought the evidence there to the committee, and the committee made a decision on it. Could you talk us through maybe the decision and where we're going from here?
Yeah, well, they made a decision that they're going to bypass the two ministers of transport and fisheries and to go directly to the Tánaiste and Taoiseach, and also they're on about going straight to Europe as well. So it's going to take time to get through all this, but they were still going to have a good think about it and see what else they could do. But listen to the evidence. The evidence is quite clear and irrefutable at this stage, and they do see that we fell through all the gaps in legislation both here and abroad and in Europe, and also like with the sister ships, and some of them still sailing, to really understand that this is a big issue. As I said, it's an international issue, and that it should be stop just brushing it under the carpet or hope it goes away, because it's not going to this stage.
CJ, some of the evidence that was heard at the committee was very strong, and some of it was actually quite shocking. For example, Mr. Jacob Pinster, the stability and shipbuilding expert that came from the Netherlands, he was saying like that boats like this should have never been built, and that there was maybe no regulation, no checks being made on these boats before they were released to the boat owners after they were built. Do you think that there should be a further investigation into that?
Yeah, definitely, because the stability book states that light was there present that on the day of the test, but like there were so many mistakes made. Like there was 12 centimeter mistakes in all the freeboard calculations, the measurements, and if they should have showed up then on the deflections when they were doing the stability test. So there's so many things wrong with this. There has to be serious questions asked how this happened. You know, it's unbelievable that many mistakes could have been made.
Definitely, like, you know, when we listen to evidence from Justin Delaney, another stability expert who was there and tested the Mary Kate, like he was surprised and shocked that, you know, that these things weren't noticed at an earlier stage.
Whatever went on, anyway, it should have all shown up on the test that day. Like there was the designer there, and there was also Jim Light. So no matter what went on before that, it should have showed up on that date. It's just unbelievable that the vessel was passed at all. And back with all the evidence, like it's forensic now, all the way back. They can trace, and when they do all the calculations as well, they can prove where the weight would have to be to show the difference between 1992 and 2007. And it's in a specific course, like there's that many expert look at it's not there. So the vessel was wrong from the day she was built. There's no doubt about it. There's no one ever questioned that. And it's just amazing, like that, you know, these people are absolute experts. Like classification costs a lot of money. They're there to protect people like me that aren't experts on stability, and they're the buffer there to make sure that everything's right. And when they sign off and everything like that's it. There should be no questions. Like it just shouldn't happen.
Exactly. You know, people who's there testing the boats are the buffer between yourselves and the danger that the sea can possess for when you're going fishing. And to be let down by those people is major. And now when you're moving forward as the committee has suggested, moving it towards the Taoiseach and the Tánaiste. What would you say to them in order to get to the realization that this safety buffer was totally neglected, was a negligent act by the designers and the boat builder and the certifiers?
Yeah, well, Leo Varadkar was Minister for Transport, so he knows all about this vessel going by Transport Minister. We've met the Tánaiste on numerous occasions as well, and he said that when he got into power that he'd again look at it, which he didn't. So, like, beam trawling is a dangerous job. You have to know your stuff at it. Everything has to be right. But if you're being sent out in a vessel that is inherently dangerous before you even start to fish, like, this is akin to manslaughter, in my opinion. It's that serious, like that. Could have killed many a person and nearly did. Just the grace of God that we're still here. But I think it's akin to manslaughter myself.
Well, it would be if there's been any accidents or his lives has been lost because of this. Like, there's no other word for it, because if you commit a negligent act and it results in somebody's death, then you have to be guilty of a crime. But there's also this thing in Ireland and the EU and all these countries and the member states of the EU, where there's no law covering the stability for 24-meter vessels and under. And this is an issue as well that you want to have addressed.
Yeah, definitely. Europe has seen the mistakes that they can't investigate themselves. They've seen the different countries kicking it on the back burner. They know that this shouldn't have happened, and it should have been looked at in 2009, when 2010 when we went to Brussels. So they know that they have to change the law, because the countries aren't not proactive enough in this. Like, this should have been started out straight away. Like, Ireland, Germany, Holland, and England at the time, where all the sister ships went. Like, there should have been a meeting called straight away and discussed it and seen what the best way forward is. Like, it's absolutely shocking that here we are after Europe writing to the different countries back in 2010, and then the Committee at Safe Seas being told about this in 2013, that we still think that there's sister ships that still haven't been even tested to this day.
That's a major issue that has to be addressed as soon as possible, because people's lives are at risk if these things aren't addressed and corrected in a timely way. CG, one of the other things that you mentioned at the committee was a letter you received back from the current Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Charlie McConlogue, who had described your buying of the Mary Kate as a failed commercial transaction. What's your definition of a failed commercial transaction?
Well, as I said, that the meeting is buying a gold mine and there's no gold. I bought this vessel was surveyed twice before I bought it for the bank. Was still fishing up till the day I bought it. It had all its current certificates were in date, had a stamped stability book. When we went to the shipyard to discuss doing a stability test on it, and they said that there was no need. The vessel was as original. It was still in good order, but there was no added, there was no new net drums, or there was no winches, or there was no new engines. Anything that was changed like for like. So the vessel was as original. So they said there was no need to get a stability test done, because there had been no issues with this type of vessel, and the Germans were. She was doing surveys every 2 years. So every 2 years she was getting new certification, German authority. So how can that be a private transaction? Like, I don't know that everything that was needed, and to back up everything, the MSO accepted all the paperwork, and she was accepted on the Irish Register. If I done something wrong, why isn't anyone come forward and said that, like that well, we done wrong as well? Because no one done wrong. That happened in 1992, and it wasn't found until and like everything was there. It was all certification by a renowned classification society and the Germans. Like, what more do you need? Like, when I go in and buy a new car off Volkswagen in the garage next week, I just go in and buy it because all the pre-tests and all the things are already done for me. But if there's a problem, the car is recalled and is fixed straight away. Why should this be any different? And like as well, having no rights to courts, having no consumer rights, no rights because I'm an EU citizen. It's unbelievable that in 2024 that I have no rights and people are happy just to leave it the way it is and watch a family disintegrate under stress and financial strain that this has caused. So I just can't understand that.
I don't think you need a business degree to see that this is not a failed commercial transaction. I think the minister's definition of that is very far out. Everything you've explained over the years since this happened to you over and over again has never, ever, ever related to the fact that you did not fulfill every single obligation that you were given in order to keep the boat going. Like, I don't really know where the minister gets his ideas from, but that's definitely not something you'd find in a book like The Commercial Law of Ireland or anything like that there. So CJ, I know there's a lot of people that has worked very hard for you over the past few years, and there's a number of them at the committee there. And maybe you could give us a little bit of an idea of who they are and how they've helped you over the years.
Well, Jake, Justin was the first. I never met Justin before. I hired him to do the first ability test, and Justin is fantastic. He's never asked for any money. He supported me the whole way through. The amount of work that he puts in, writing to everybody, putting things together, doing the different tests. He's just a fantastic person. Like, there's not many of them to the million, I can tell you that. And Mary as well. Like, Mary was Andrew Doyle, Minister of State, Fine Gael secretary at the time, and I came across her desk. And even when she retired, she stayed with us. And the same thing, she's just there. She sees the wrong. She sees what is done and full support. Jacob came on board then when we got a hearing in Holland to appoint the Courts of Air to come and look at the boat. And I met Jacob. I'll never forget the first time I talked to him. He says, I'm going to look over all your paperwork, CJ, and if I find that you're doing anything wrong or anything like that, I will not represent you and I'll have nothing to do with you. Look through all the paperwork, and he's been there ever since as well. And they're just horrified as well that it's still ongoing. And business people you'd ever come across in support and to give their time freely. Like, I be in near enough daily conversations and emails between all four of us. And Sean Kelly has been very, very good as well, going to the Europe and producing the letters saying that Europe said that the money was there. John Brady from Sinn Féin has been very good. There's been some very good people, but everyone we've met sees that it's not our fault. Everyone we meet is an injustice, and that this shouldn't have happened to us. Also, all the politicians, no matter if it's Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, Green Party or anything, I've met them all. Every one of them is on our side when we explain the situation, and they all know it's not right. But I just calling on them, like, if it's not right, fix it. I can't do any more. Like, as they said at the meeting, I can't fight this on my own. I'm an Irish citizen, and I'm calling on the representatives that were voted in by the people to represent us. You can't do nothing wrong for doing right. There's nothing to come back on you. It's all certified, it's all exported. There's no comeback on anyone for calling this out and pushing it on and just finding the solution that just ends this. Plus, makes it a safe. This can't go on. Like, it can't. It has to stop. There can be no more mistakes made. The legislation has to be tightened up, and consumer protection there has to be law. There has to be, everything has to be looked at. And it's just an international incident, really, and it's fell through so many cracks. Like it's unbelievable that I have no rights. Like people in power should push this on now till it finishes, and also the inquiry. Like all the work is done. It would take nothing for Ireland and Germany and Holland to sit down to discuss this. All the paperwork's there, and just see where the mistakes were made, tighten everything up, and make sure this never happens again to anyone else. Because, as you say, then fishing is dangerous enough. You can't be going to sea in a bad vessel from the off. It's just can't happen anymore, you know.
Yeah, CG, you're 100% right. It's fishing is such a dangerous occupation, and these vessels are still in operation, you know, and there has to be more safety provided for everybody who goes out on a boat. CJ, I want to thank you again for joining us, and like the message is strong and the message is clear. The Taoiseach and the Tánaiste has to sit down and get their finger out and do something about this. This has been going on long enough, and we'd like to see everybody in the fishing community, wherever they are, or whatever country they are, you know, joining in and joining your cause in order to help improve safety.
Yeah, like as well, like we have 10 MEPs signed a letter to say that this was wrong and we should be supported. They brought to the Taoiseach early last year, so they know about it. And last year, over 30 councillors in County Wicklow got together, and it was first time probably ever, a unanimous decision across all parties, and then the Taoiseach and to the Tánaiste over this issue to support us as well. So there's a massive political will. There's loads of ministers before and all that. There's massive political will there, and someone needs just to say this is not right. We're going to sort this out and just get on with it.
Well, thank you again for joining us, CJ, and hopefully next time we'll be speaking, it'll be good news.
Thank you, Oliver. Thank you.